Hey guys, Pete here. I'm going to go back an episode here and do a Q&A for the questions that you guys left in the comments of all my Twin Peaks Season 3 Part 7 videos. This is your spoiler warning. If you haven't watched Part 7 yet, then you're going to want to stop watching now. But I do have plenty of videos for the past episodes, so why don't you go watch one of those in the meantime. Alright, so the first question is, what makes you think that Evil Coop was with Diane the last time? So this is in relation to, I said in my other video that I thought something bad must have went down in between Diane and Evil Cooper. And really that's the basis for my thinking. I don't see what would have happened if she's talking about seeing the original Agent Dale Cooper that would give her this reaction when she asked the question. Beyond that, I don't have any extra information. The next question is related to the same subject. What talk do you think that Gordon and Diane are going to have later? Well, pretty simply, I think she's going to explain what happened the last time that she saw Cooper. He asked her if there's something that he needs to know about that last meeting or that last night. So I'm guessing that she's so flustered at this moment that she just wants to sit down and talk to him at a different time rather than get into the whole thing. Next question, if Leland wanted to destroy the diary pages, why didn't he flush them down the toilet instead of hiding them in the stall door? Well, I think this is probably something that Bob did, for what it's worth there, but that isn't exactly clear how that works anyways. But, I mean, I think that, if anything, Leland might not have wanted to destroy the pages. We don't know what's on all of them. We know there's some incriminating stuff, and that's why he tore them out. But perhaps it was just that he wanted to still have a connection with his daughter, or maybe there's something else there that's important that we just don't know about yet. But you're right, I mean, he could have destroyed them and they wouldn't exist anymore, but then we wouldn't have had this cool reveal if that was the case either, right? Next question asks, why is the evolution of the arm helping Cooper? Well, this is confusing to me as well, but, you know, we could think of it in a way is like he's not necessarily helping Dougie Coop here. What he's doing is he is working against Evil Coop. If we think about what we know about the Red Room and the Lodge and everything else, what Evil Cooper's doing is he's going against what they want. They wanted him to come back. So we know in the past, you know, like when Bob sort of went rogue, that was a problem. So I'm assuming that at the very least, everything that Evil Coop's doing is a problem for them on some level, and they want Bob to come back so he can hand over the Garmonbozia. So like, I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, it could be that the evolution of the arm has actually changed. I've talked about this in other videos. You know, I assume that the arm is supposed to be evil, but when we see his doppelganger, it's pretty unequivocally evil. So it's not really clear who's good or who's bad there. Hopefully episode 8, you know, it gave us some insights into things, so hopefully we'll get more insight before this season's over. Next question was, how awesome does it feel to be spectating a 25-year-old mystery getting some closure? And it is awesome. I think it's great. I know a lot of people want it to be like the series was when it first came out 25 years ago, but I am completely okay with them taking us in any direction because we are, as the commenter said there, that we are getting answers, and that's great as far as I'm concerned. Next question was, can the jet window blinking be translated into notes for some kind of flute? And I also got a ton of things saying that it was just sunlight and it was bad editing and so on and so forth. There was a really detailed post about this, and I will put the link in the description here that you can go look at. After I read that, I was pretty comfortable in saying that that had been done, that had been added in post-production. Basically, people who know a lot more about this kind of thing say that it was, so I don't have any reason to dispute that. I have never played a flute or have any idea about that, so maybe someone here might know more about that to me, but you know, I don't know if that has to do with a flute or not, but several people have brought that idea up. Next question was, did anyone notice when the oily guy was walking down the hallway that we heard the same sound that we heard from the Giants record player? This is something that I have talked about in a few videos, so I won't rehash the whole thing, but in my opinion, there are two different sounds. There's the one that he plays for Cooper on the record player, and then there's the one that we hear in relation to most of these scenes where something dark seems to be happening. You can go back and watch them both. The first time I hear the sound that we hear most often now was in the hallway in the Red Room in part 2 when Cooper's trying to leave. They play it over top of an image of what I think was the Venus de Milo. I know there's different Venus statues there, but one of them, they play it there. That turns out to be the Arms doppelganger, so I thought that this sound was connected to that, but honestly, we don't know for sure. But when you listen to the Giants, it sounds like it's a pattern, like it's not that same sort of electronic hum and electric scratching or whatever it actually is. Next question was, do you think Bob is in control of Cooper's doppelganger? This is a question that I've had since the very beginning. I don't know that we found out a lot more about it. It seems to me that the possession of Evil Coop is different than what we saw with the possession of Leland. Like Leland seemed to be able to function and then Bob would take over. Here, that seems like their relationship's different. We've seen where Evil Coop had said, "Good, you're still here," in the mirror. And I guess in general, their motivations would be similar. But I really don't know. I mean, I could speculate and ramble on about it. I guess I think the most important thing here is that, to me, it's always struck me as being different than what we saw in the original first 2 seasons and in Firewalk with Me. And this could be for a number of reasons. This could be because Leland was possessed as a young child, he welcomed Bob in, or it could be about the fact that Cooper's just a stronger being, so he can't really control him in the same way. I don't know. Next question is, doesn't Lucy have some weird phobia about technology? This is in relation to the super awesome computer setup that Frank Truman has, and saying that maybe that was that way because it's not to freak Lucy out or whatever. And a couple of people have brought that up. I don't know that Lucy has a phobia with technology per se, but it does seem like she has a very fixed idea that when she's talking to somebody on the phone, that means they're far away. There was a scene this season, and people have brought up the fact that there was a cut scene from The Missing Pieces. So I don't know what's up with it, but maybe we'll find out a little bit more in the future of this season. Next question was, Evil Coop had some incriminating stuff on the warden, so they just let him go. Yeah, I thought it was a little bit weird that they did that, but when I think back about it, let's not forget that he also did that crazy thing with the phone whenever they were watching him make his one call. And I think it's been implied pretty well that whatever he knows about the warden is something the warden cannot live with getting out. So yeah, it's a little bit strange that he would just let him go, but at the same time, I think he has pretty good reason to fear what Evil Coop could do. Next question, did you get the sense that the Pentagon Woman did not actually see the oily guy when she turned around? I said it in the recap and review, I really don't know. She may have been aware of his presence or got a strange feeling, but nothing about the scene indicates that she actually saw him. That said, in episode 8, which I'm not going to spoil here because maybe you didn't watch it yet, but our understanding of that may have changed a little bit there. Next question was, isn't Tammi Preston, who is the same person who compiled the dossier for the secret history? Well, she didn't compile it. They got the dossier as is. What she did was, as assigned by Gordon Cole, was she went through it to verify the statements that were within. So most of the different documents and things that were collected there, she left notes in the margins and things like that to say that she went back and found out that whatever the archivist was saying was true. Next question, did anyone notice that Laura Palmer / Sheryl Lee was credited in the end of the episode? Yeah, she has been credited in every single episode up until this point, and my best guess is it's because they show her photo in the opening credit scene. I remember when we first got the actors in IMDb that it said she was in all 18 episodes, so that could be related to that as well. Next question, OMG, doesn't anyone remember that the 4th diary page was the one in the train car from the night of Laura's murder? My memory of this was that they did find pages or a page in the train car that they realized were from a different diary than the one they had. And Firewalk with Me, in that scene, you can see that Leland has pages in his hand. And I haven't been able to go back and watch every scene that relates to these diary pages to know for sure. But the reason that I brought that up in the 10 Things video was because I thought that Hawk was saying in a kind of specific way that there was still one that was missing. And since he was familiar with the original investigation, he would know that there were, there were other pages in evidence, or a page in evidence, or whatever. So that was my thinking at the time. It could be completely wrong, but we'll just have to wait and see. Next question was, am I the only person that noticed that the guy playing Jean-Michel is the same actor that played Jacques? This is something that I didn't point out again in the most recent episode. I had mentioned it in my Which Characters Are Returning video and in the very first recap and review I did for parts 1 and 2. And yes, the same actor who played Jacques, who's dead, is playing this new character, Jean-Michel Renault. Now, you might have been thinking about his brother. He had two brothers in the original series. He had Bernard, who was the younger brother, and then there was Jean Renault, who was sort of like the ringleader. The actor that plays Jean is dead, and this is just a brand new Renault. We don't really know where he came from, but they got the same actor who plays Jacques to play this guy, so that's the way it is. I don't know if we're going to get a backstory on him or not. Next question. Bad Coop went into Audrey's room. Could this be how Richard Horne came to be? Well, there's certainly a lot of theory about that going around. It's possible because we know that Evil Coop is a bad character, I guess, But I mean, there's some problems with that idea. An ICU is not a place where you can just walk in and do what you will in the room without anybody knowing it's going on. And, there's the alternate idea of what I said, that there could be other reasons for him going there. The Owl Cave ring seems to be the most obvious thing, but also there's the idea of Annie being there, and all we really know from Doc Hayward is that he saw Cooper coming out by the ICU and he assumed that he went to see and check on Audrey. We're gonna have to get some more info on that, but we do know that the Owl Cave ring came back into his possession at some point, and that the last time we knew about it, it was in the possession of the nurse who took it from Annie. And the last question is, what happened to Annie? I forgot. Did she die? Well, I made a whole video about Annie last weekend that you can check out, so I won't add a bunch about that here. The short answer is that we don't really know. Last we heard, she was okay, and we assumed that she was recovering, but beyond that, we just really don't know yet. Alright guys, thanks for all the questions. It's fun to do these, and I will be doing one for part 8 really soon. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with all my Twin Peaks videos. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.